All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scrap Time. This is our first episode with a planned guest because we had Nameless on, but like he wasn't really planned that one day. So our planned guest is Attach. Attach, welcome. How you feeling? He's muted.
Dillon's muted out.
Yep,
Dillon's muted out. That is so tough.
No, he's not muted out. He's just muted. His mic's muted. He's not muted out. He can hear me, but you know he's doing a thing. This is if this isn't as Attach-esque as what I hello Dillon. Hi.
Hello.
There he is. There he is. How you doing today, Dill?
I'm doing good. Do I need to join anything? Or
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I'm good? Okay.
He's away from his desk. Oh, I didn't know that. Cut. No, we're good, bro. It's a good intro.
Sorry. Yeah, I had to go blow my nose.
Honestly,
intro
bro,
valid.
no, that's fine. Our intro was great. We're having a good day. Ben, how you feeling?
I am feeling good.
Mhm.
I'm in Florida. It is very warm. I'm glad to not be wearing like a jacket and jeans, which I've had to deal with in Columbus for months. I'm glad to step outside for it to be swelteringly hot. I got ice cream yesterday, so that was great. It feels like summer here, and I'm going to enjoy the couple of days before I have to go back to Columbus.
Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, dude. All right. So we had an interesting week so far of the first round of Major 4. Yeah, very interesting. Very, first round of Major 4 qualifiers. We'll talk about that. So, Ben, if you want to kick us off, let's go.
Yeah, so we got Dillon here. So I want to start things off and talk about the Minnesota home series. Dillon, I know obviously we talked in past episodes obviously about your roster move. So you were actually there as a content creator. Can you speak to us a little bit about like how the event was from your perspective, like things you think they should have done differently or things they did well?
Wait 1 second. Looney just resub. I gotta go tell him to fuck himself.
Oh my God, that's good energy out of Dill. I like
Looney,
that.
thank you for the 84-month resub. I don't fuck with you. All right. What'd you say, man?
Dude, I hate this kid so much. Dillon, speak to us about the Minnesota Hem Series, a little about your experience in Madison, Wisconsin. Did you enjoy the event? What would you have done different? What should they do different for their second iteration next major cycle?
I liked it. It was actually really fun. I think the only complaint was like they weren't on 2 days. They didn't have 2 days for the matches. Like Minnesota ROKKR played 2 matches in 1 day.
Mhm.
And that was like everyone's big complaint because they were warmed up and then LAG wasn't able to play a match. So they came in kind of cold. Like that's the competitive integrity people were talking about. But overall, I think it was really cool to be in a theater, have a LAN event, and have new people get to experience Call of Duty on LAN for the first time in Wisconsin because we've never had anything over there. So I think it's a really good idea. I think more orgs are going to try and start doing something like this if it's worth it. And Minnesota's just like really the first ones to do it. And I think people are going to follow suit because if it's a profitable business venture. So we'll see. But I had a good time, met a lot of cool people, and it's always fun to just experience the hype of Call of Duty on LAN.
Yeah, I mean, I had to FaceTime you at one point to help you out with technical issues, so that was fun.
Ben's just self-gassing himself. Yeah, he's just self-gassing himself. This guy's serious, dude. All right, yeah, good shit. Good shit, Ben, dude.
He helped a lot. My stream wouldn't have been working if it wasn't for him. So thank you to Ben.
That's all good.
What is going on with your camera right now, Ben? There you go.
I'm trying to fix my cam so it doesn't wobble as much. No, I mean the 2 game thing. So Dylan, we had on the flank we talked to Brett Diamond for a bit, and I kind of think that's probably the biggest takeaway is just more, I think, flesh out policy about these home series, right? I understand from the team perspective, 1 day, 2 day events there's a cost thing.
Yeah,
I think when I'm talking to Brett, I think his biggest thing was they obviously, as you know, with ROKKR, they want to do right by the community first. And so I think going into the St. Paul home series or just in general for next year, if more teams try to do this, like how do you not have the double match thing, or what about maybe every team that goes plays 2 matches over the course of 2 days, so it's the same for everyone that attends. I think there's a lot of different things they can tweak, but as like a first test case in CDL, because they see this before in Overwatch League, I thought it looked good. I thought it looked great on broadcast, and I assume you had a great time in venue.
Yeah, no, overall it was really good. Good energy, good people, and good Call of Duty to watch. So I think you're gonna see more stuff like this, and they're gonna fix the inconveniences, and it was the first time, so they got a lot to learn from it.
Chris, would you love to see like Atlanta do it for your team at some point next year?
Sure, I'm down. I mean, I think the whole like concept of it is cool. I still think like the competitive integrity thing that that Dillon was just talking about, like it's like a good and bad thing in the sense like they definitely get to play a match and then they're kind of warmed up and they play another one. But if there was some way you couldn't like get a venue for 2 days or it was like, you know, the pricing or anything, I still think it's worth it. I think it would be more worth it in the sense if other teams are able to do it too, and this would be a cool way to like replace some of like, you know, the home majors and shit and still get like fans involved. I still think it's like in general the idea is a much better step forward to have some more LAN matches and this better environments and cooler like just production and everything. I thought those matches were cool. But yeah, like for your question, I think it would be cool to have like an Atlanta event. Like it doesn't have to be a full on major where you're doing it like a 7-day venue fee and all this. Like you're just doing it for a day or two and you play a match or two. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I think the overall idea is awesome. I would love to see Atlanta do it. I'd love to see plenty of other teams do it. I think that'd be cool. So I'm down for it.
Yeah, my sense talking, I reached out to a couple of executives, so like team owners, people have in front offices over the course of the last couple of days. And the sense is, one is I know, and I tipped Minnesota Rock for this. Like they were like, okay, we're gonna do this, and all the teams we're gonna share kind of a post-mortem with our kind of like the costs, like the business model, our takeaways. So a lot of these owners are very curious on how much money ROKKR made, because a lot of them are looking at doing this, and some of them are looking at doing it maybe twice next year. And I think an aspirational goal would be see at least 6 of the 12 teams next year do one. If we run back the same 5 major cycle, you'd have at least one every cycle would be really cool. And it would add some variety to the weekends, right? I don't think next year we're gonna be able to have one every weekend, but it's a way of engaging with fans locally. I think we just got to live with the sort of world of online Call of Duty. I know we'd all love to go back to a LAN league, but we've discussed this issue to death, and I think that's probably a little bit ways out. But yeah, I mean, love to see you guys do it. I'd love to see OpTic do it. Teams, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only other thing I would add to them is like I do think the matches being on LAN are cool, and teams are probably gonna have to agree to fly out for some of these matches and all that. I'm assuming like, you know, the teams have agreed to fly out, but like it would be also cool if they made some of these like the bounty matches, like if the bounty matches, so like the, you know, the extra money on the line where like you were playing on LAN and like you felt like more in that environment. I think that would be like the best world for it, where players are more incentivized to like not just go to a random city and play, but also play for a little bit more on the line too. I think that'd be cool. So I think like there's a lot of like, you know, good opportunities for teams to do stuff like that, or the league to do stuff like that. But also I was gonna ask Dillon, did they sell like merch and shit there? Like was there like it was basically just like a ROKKR stuff thing? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they have the merch stands there.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, you could even take it further, Chris. You can do the bounty match, then you can do like you can even do a fundraiser for charity. You have you have a drive throughout the week, leading to that event day, and whoever wins, the team goes to a charity of choice. Like there are a lot of ways I think that you could incentivize players, incentivize the community. I think it's a very interesting path to the future of the Call of Duty League, and I'm excited to see ROKKR do it one more time this year. And then again, from people I've talked to, I think a lot of teams are. You know, obviously people are starting to figure out like what majors they want to potentially bid for next year. Like that process normally happens around this time for the CDL team. So in tandem with that process, people are starting to think about whether or not they want to commit to doing any home series next year. So hopefully we get more than one team doing them next year because it would be really sick.
I like it. All right.
Well, I think we can move on for that. Oh, the only other thing they should improve, and I know like RC was talking about this on stream. Some of the teams forgot to bring their face cams, I guess, to the event. That's why like ROKKR had their cams, but a bunch of other teams didn't. So hopefully they fix that next time, so we can get full POVs on everyone. The next thing is before we get into team stuff from the weekend, we should talk about the big news yesterday. I think it came. I wouldn't say the change was a surprise, and I'm sure you guys will agree, but I think the timing on it definitely caught a lot of people by surprise. They did a good job keeping it quiet. And we're talking about Boston Breach's roster move. Kremp, who has been a prospect touted, I think, a lot by the community. I've talked a lot about him as players to watch. Been one of the best sub players in Challengers Elite pretty much all season on the Boston Breach Academy team. He's been called into the starting lineup, and unfortunately, Reese Vivid will be moving to the bench. So, Chris and Dillon, curious your thoughts on this move. Good move, bad move?
Dillon, you can go first.
I think what they wanted to do was just, I think Nero and Vivid play a very similar role. Like they're both just hyper aggressive, running around the map, and they're kind of like the entry players. I think they want to just have like Kremp, who might be more of a Slayer type SMG, match with them, because like when Vivid and Nero are on, they're just frying, do whatever they want. When they're off, they're like really off. So you kind of need to find like a balance in that end. I don't know exactly how Kremp plays, but I have a feeling he's gonna be like an SMG Slayer type and just really focus on being that guy on the team, while Nero is the like entry dirty work type of player, just constantly head bashing.
Yeah, I agree. I think those two. I still think Boston was a good team, and they could have tried to fix some of their mistakes and everything. But I'm assuming either the way their practice was going or however what was happening, like, yeah, Vivid and Nero are very similar, and as much as you can always practice and work on, like, your play styles, your VOD work, like, we got to do this on this hill and that hill and all this stuff, like, tendencies of like players are really hard to change, and it takes like a long time to like fix some of them. And if you just have two players that are super similar, sometimes it just doesn't work, and like maybe they just saw like, we don't have too much more time to like try and make this work, and we want to see like where we can go from here. I don't know if there's any bad blood in the sense of like, some crazy drama behind the scenes, but they can also always bring back Vivid potentially if like things don't work out with Kremp. I just haven't seen too much of Kremp's gameplay, so I just don't know the type of player he is the fit with Nero. I'm assuming they think it's going to work a little bit better, and if that's the case, like, it should help them. I still think Boston, regardless, will probably be pretty good with this change, so I'm not too worried about them playing better. I just think right now, like, I don't think Vivid's even been playing that well, as like for himself too. Like, I don't think he's been playing his best COD either, so I think this is like a good time for them to try it out and see where things go.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting, which is if you look at the stats in SND and a hardpoint, Reese and Nero are pretty similar in terms of KD ratio, like kills deaths per 10, hill time, and then even in SND, like first bloods. But the game mode that Reese has actually struggled with the most this year has actually been control, believe it or not. He's really, really struggling control. Last I saw, I think his KD was like a 0.8 in the game mode, and we're getting to a point in the season where the sample size on that is pretty large. And I wonder if, to your point, Chris, like, it's a combo of sort of chemistry stuff. They're trying to bring someone in to kind of get them to the next level as we get to the sort of the end of the season. And ideally, they can parlay that into an event win, but clean up some of the issues that they have that's preventing them from taking the next step, because they've consistently been like all season top 6 and at times a top 4 team. I think y'all have gassed them. I pretty much everybody in the community.
I think they're a good team.
Saying that this team is good. Their best placing so far this year has just been that top 4 placing. And they obviously want to try and make a grand final for the first time in the franchise. So I think this is sort of the last of the changes they're going to make this season. And I'm excited to see what Kremp can do in challengers. He's been really good in hardpoint. Whenever I watch him play on their academy team, like his pressure is just impossible, I think, for people to deal with at that level. He's been pretty solid in search. Control, his numbers aren't that great, but I don't actually think the Boston Academy team has been all that great in control. So I don't know how much I'm putting too much stock in that, They have like their pacing on their academy team is a little like funky, where he's going to be going into a pro team that I think is going to be a little bit more unified in terms of their speed. So yeah, I like the move. And I think my next question to y'all is, what do you think Reese Vivid is going to do next? You think he's just stuck playing challengers the rest of the year?
What do you think, Dill?
Yeah, it's tough to say, just because when you're in a spot like that, you don't really know like what team. The team's options you're gonna have to go to aren't usually gonna be the best, because like the teams in the upper half, like the top 8, like really aren't gonna make that many changes unless you kind of get lucky if there's some internal team drama or something. So it's like, do you go to like one of those teams that's in the bottom 4 and just like play the rest of the year out and then try to build something for next year, or do you just go play challengers, see how that goes? That's just, so it's kind of really just up to him. I don't know if he's gonna try and go to another team, or if he's just gonna play challengers, sit on the bench, and then maybe next year they try and like sell him and to another team going forward.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I was him, you can play challengers if you want. Some players obviously just want to compete, just to get the reps in and keep playing, and it's also just fun. Like, they don't want to just like kind of sit there and not do too much. I think Vivid is in a spot though where like he'll probably still find a team. I think he's still a sub that like people will pick up like on their rosters next year, especially the teams that struggle towards the end of the year and all that. So he doesn't need to play challengers in my opinion, to like, like really keep his rep there. I know he hasn't been playing the greatest, but like I do think he's still like an important sub in the league that not a lot of people can do. Wait, he's someone in my chat just said he's a free agent, so he doesn't have a buyout. I don't know if that's even true. That's no way that's not true, right?
He tweeted he was a restricted free agent, which
restricted means he has a buyout. So yeah, that's
Yeah, everyone knows I hate that term because it gets used in the COD community. It's not what it means.
Yeah.
But what might happen, Chris, is like what happened with Standy or what happened with Hook is there might be interest out there, but no one wants to pay a buyout. And this is a question of Boston is like, do you want to do right by the player and release them and then let them go elsewhere in the career, or are you kind of holding the line? I think that's a decision that him and the org need to make.
I was gonna say, but like doing right by the player to a degree is like, business is also business, so you can't really get like upset if like you get held. You're still, and they're also still paying the guy. He still gets paid. Yeah. Like it's not like doing like, I don't know. But regardless, freaking, I think he's in a position where he'll still probably find a team. He doesn't need to play challengers. He doesn't want to. It's kind of whatever he just wants to do. Maybe people show interest in him, but they don't want to pay a crazy buyout, depending on the scenario that they're in, and like, as necessary as he is. So I kind of just have to wait and see. I think whatever he decides to do is what he can do next. He can do any of those things. I don't think any of those choices would be a terrible choice, to be honest. Even if he plays in challengers, I think he'd play fine, and he can have some fun with that, or just kind of chill and wait and just get paid and maybe stream and do other stuff like that for now. But yeah,
I think I'm curious what you guys see. Whenever I watch Reese play, like he's very talented. He can be a takeover player. Where I think he's gotten in trouble the last couple of years, and I think Rambo's got the best phrase for this. Is like left stick mistakes. We've seen it sometimes in series for Boston, especially in search that he
overchallenges. Sprinting too much. Yeah.
Left stick mistakes. It's great. It's great when you win those gunfights. You're frying, but when you're not, you're being super detrimental to your team, and you're either blowing your setups you're about to put together, or in search you're just getting blooded. And so, would love to see him maybe go to an organization or play with a player that can help him work on some of those issues. Because I think he can slay with the best, but if he refines and tightens up his gameplay, I think the consistency is gonna really step it up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I feel like he's always making the good plays. He's in good positions, but sometimes he just still keeps going instead of just kind of waiting for a sec and letting the game come to him when he's already in their base, and that could just take him to like that next level as a player.
Yeah, well, I think that's the biggest balance. I think, Dillon, you would agree with this. It's like, especially with this team specifically, you have Nero who does the same shit, right? And they're both, and again, fixing that tendency of your gameplay. I swear, like even like dating it back, Dillon, when we team with Tommy, like, there are just people that have like it in their brain, like their instincts of just like, I am going to fucking challenge, or like, I am going to make this play. That's just how they play. And like fixing those tendencies takes a long time. And like Tommy got way better, I think, over the time that we were teaming. Like, the more years that went on, like he's like, was able to slow down in those certain moments and get better and better at it. But like, it's just so hard. You can't just like watch a VOD and fix that. You can continuously try and like keep working at it. But like, I've never worked with Vivid personally, so I don't know how smart of a player he is on like just in general. But like the Boston team might also just have a scenario where they have two players that get themselves in those like, we'll say left stick mistakes for this, but like, when they're like sprinting too much, or like they get to the position to end the game and then like they overchow and die. And it's like, well, now your presence isn't on this part of the map anymore and you lose. So it's like having two players that do that can hurt you. And, being on the same page and making those smart plays, those winning plays that like certain subs do as well, I think are really important. So I do think this could help Boston potentially. And like, that's something that maybe he has to work with on his own game. But I think he'll be good. I do think though, with what you said, like, you can't have two people doing that all the time, because sometimes you do need someone to make like the game winning play. And sometimes it's like playing slow in a certain scenario and like waiting on the pinch, or not being the first guy to overchow, or waiting for your teammate and stuff. And you do that stuff and you get better. So I don't know. I think it will help him, but I think that's something that like every sub kind of strives for, is, like a lot of people can run forward and be those crazy players, but I think the elites of the elite are the ones who learn how to slow down when it matters the most. And that's when like you become like really dangerous. So like speeding up at the right time, putting yourself there, and then sometimes taking the timing that wins you games and like that crazy play. But then there's also some times where like you really wait on the pinch and you play it right and you take the lane that's open. Like it's having that instinct. And I think working on that as him would probably help him. But I think that's pretty right in general.
That's something we were back in the Cold War, Chris. One time, Tom and I were watching gameplay with like Damon and Dan Mooney, made that point about like players like Sim, for example, to your point that like they pace the game so well, and because they do that, it makes it super unpredictable to play against them because you have no idea if they're playing an off-angle corner or if they're just going to disrespect Chalyu.
Mhm.
And it's just a full fluidity of knowledge of your gameplay. So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing for Reese is I think his stock is still good. Like I think it's just a chemistry thing. I think there's gonna be no shortage of teams in the off season in particular. If he's not sticking around with Boston, they're gonna want his services. And I think there are a number of, probably veteran AR players that would probably love to have him on and work on building on some of the shortcomings he has. Because the top end of Reese, like he's been a part of teams that have made finals.
No, yeah,
He's been a part of really good teams the last couple of years, so he's
yeah,
not a drag
fine.
on those squads.
Yeah, and you're never gonna fall short of replacing. Every team's always gonna need a fast-paced sub who can do it. It's just that will be a very, as of now, I don't see Call of Duty, the pro league, being in a position where like there's too many of those guys that do it at a high level. Like that's the rare role. Like I think it's harder. Like the AR role is a little bit different. Like we talked about that last podcast. I think that's a rare role. Like that usually can almost guarantee you a spot on the team for the most part because it's super important role. Not everyone can do that role, and like I think it's important. So yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Cool. Well, we can move on and talk more when we see them play. I believe they're playing up against London this weekend. So that should be interesting to see how Boston play with Kremp. Chris, is always gets the team stuff. I want to start with your squad. We've talked a lot in the last couple episodes of the big thing you guys are working on is trying to clean up things, especially around hardpoint. You guys went 1-1 this week. I know this probably wasn't ideal, and both matches did go to game 5.
We went 1-3 at hardpoint. Yeah.
Yeah. So speak on kind of your thoughts from the weekend and things that you guys are focusing on the next 2 weeks. Once again, you guys are on a path to probably go 3-2 in the major qualifier.
Don't disrespect us. We can go 4-1. It's possible.
Bro, is that a goal? You're going to go 4-1?
Well, I would fucking hope so. Yeah. If I would rather not lose another match or two, like we're trying to win them. But no, I know. I mean, it was so weird, dude. Like we went 1-3 in hardpoint this split, and after we got back from Major 3, obviously we revamped our whole hardpoint game and we changed a lot about it. And then we scrimmed. And I would say for the first like 4 or 5 days, it was, off and on days of scrims. It didn't look good, but it was like kind of growing pains of like changing some tendencies of our players. There was a lot of stuff I can't really go too deep in detail, but it just needed to fucking change. And we changed it. And I think it was like growing pains of like kind of getting more comfortable in some of the scenarios again. And then we started getting comfortable. And I would say like the week leading up to the matches, we were like lights out in hardpoint. I feel like that was like some of the best hardpoint we've ever played. So I was super excited for the New York match, And the day before the matches of New York, we didn't get the best day of scrims, but if you eliminate that day of scrims, so like 6 or 7 days of consistency, we were disgusting at hardpoint. Probably the best records that we've had. Like we looked fucking incredible. And that's why I'm still super confident that like the path that we're on is a good one. But after losing those matches to New York, it was just like super frustrating because like we're so much better than that and it wasn't translating in the scrims. And we've had this like kind of similar conversation that like it's annoying to have the same conversation over and over again because you obviously keep having it, you keep fixing it, and then you keep falling short and it's like what the fuck? Like it's just like annoying. But at the end of the day, like some of the tendencies that I think cost us right now this year specifically in hardpoint are just going to take a little bit longer to like fully fix. And I think we got some of the general concepts down. I just think we now have to do like some of the smaller scenarios to really that will like hurt us in matches where like if you watch back both the hard points versus New York, it was just like our teamwork was fucking awful in so many of them. And then like there was a few scenarios where we didn't use our kills that we got like nearly enough on the hotel that we could have like ended the game. I think we were up like 160 to 100 and we could have like really, or 145 to 100. I don't know, whatever it was. And like, we could have ended the game with like 3 or 4 dead and none of us moved and we did nothing with the kills and then we got broken. It's like there are so many like little mistakes that killed us and it's like just something that we know everyone understands and we're working hard to fix it. It's just like we have to do it more consistently in in these matches to translate our scrims better. So we're on the right path, but we do have to absolutely just be better. But I do think tightening up a lot of our teamwork would be like the next goal for us now. I think like we understand what we needed to change in hardpoint and I think we did do that. As dumb as that sounds, because we went 1-3, I think we did change what we needed to change. But now we have to like really tighten up on like just the teamwork aspect of everything that's going into scrims. And it's kind of what we were talking about. Like, bro, like we have to stop taking so many one-on-ones sometimes, and like little things like that are just like really hurting us in some of these important scenarios. So that's going to be the next step. It was a frustrating week, to be honest with you, even though we did go 1-1, but we're on the right path, and we just have to keep working on some of these tendencies to make ourselves like the best team that we can be. Right now, it's becoming the best team that we can be. And when we start doing that on a more consistent basis, we will be good. And even after the day of the New York, like we literally played the New York match, and then the next day scrims went incredible in hardpoint again. We're like, dude, we got to fucking fix this. You know what I mean? So we're on the right path. We just have to fine tune some things. I'm still super confident. I know that sounds crazy sometimes, but I really am. So we just got to keep working at it.
One thing, just a quick follow-up question. I want to get Dillon in the mix. One thing I've been talking to my chat a lot is that like you guys and a couple other teams are pretty much qualified for champs. Like, do you think the benefit of how well you played so far this season allows, especially like you and the other coaches, to kind of think long-term, as opposed to, you know, teams like ROKKR and Vegas that almost have to live one match at a time because of the situation they're in? So you can take this longer view on things. Is obviously you want to win Major 4 and 5, but everything's about the end of the season, no?
Yeah. I mean, are you asking Dillon that or me?
No, I'm asking you that. And I'll get Dillon in the mix.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in a really good spot right now. We know that, and we just have to use these majors as practice to get to become the best team. I think we all know we have plenty of talent. We don't need a roster change or anything. You know, like, we're fine. We're good. Like, kills are not our issue. Even in Major 3, we're outslaying teams and losing. Like, kills are not our issue. The teamwork is. And we know that, and we identified that, and we just know what we have to fix. But now we just have to plain and simple fucking do it. That's it. We have to do it. Like, when we were playing the matches, we have to do it. And once we start doing that, we're good. So it's more of an execution thing for us during these matches. And once we get that down more, we'll start winning a lot of games. And that just is what it is. So
cool. I want to get Dillon involved here.
Yeah.
I want to take the flip side of some of the matches we talked about. And in particular, I want to speak on New York, who have been like a really weird team. I would say the last almost 2 months, pretty much since Major 1. It almost feels like, to an extent, they're extremely day-to-day, and they took that to an extreme during the Major 3 qualifiers, and they pulled up to the Major event and had a real clunker, and so I think they were really coming into that match against you guys, Chris, with a passion. They end up actually taking 2 hard points in a round 11 search. Like, Dillon, from your perspective, do you feel like after that, watching that FaZe match, Dillon, do you feel better about the New York team, or do you still think like you need to see a little bit more to know if they're still kind of stuck in this sort of roller coaster day-to-day kind of situation they're in?
I definitely think you need to see more. Just because it's only one match. One match doesn't really show much in Call of Duty nowadays, and it kind of sucks that we don't play as many matches to really see how good teams are until we get to like the LAN event. Because I mean, New York, they won the first event, and then they got like ace, then they got 12th, so they had bad placings the past couple events. But every time when you go and prepare to play that team, you know they're a really good team. Like, they are one of the few teams in the game. I think Seattle's kind of like this as well, that can win an event, but they can also get last. So they have the talent, they have the smarts, and they have signs of greatness. Even in like the online qualifiers before Major 2 and Major 3, they have their moments where they look really, really good. It's just doing it consistently and then taking it to the tournament and winning that first round to get some momentum under their belts. I think, because I think they've lost the first round matchup because they've been in winners twice at Major 2 and Major 3, lost the first round matchup, and then they kind of just collapsed from there. So being able to have like a regain when they lose is probably their biggest thing going forward.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I'm curious if you guys, because I can't really put my finger on it. It's got to be some like out of game stuff almost as to why they've just been so inconsistent. Unless you guys think it's sort of playstyle system.
Wait, it's their playstyle 100%. Watch them play Call of Duty, Ben. It's 100% their playstyle. They're fucking nut jobs.
You think it's just speed, and sometimes they're on and it works, and sometimes they come off.
Absolutely.
On and just not getting the timings.
I think they've done a really good job of trying to make it more consistent. Even like the match that they played, like if you watch like their arrows instead of like, you know, when I was watching them play it too, because I've watched it back a few times, like they've definitely, from that match, I think I agree with you, Dillon. Like, you have to see more. you know, Call of Duty is a game of consistency. It's not a game of how if you can do it on a Saturday, like or on a Sunday or something. Like you have to do it every time. Like that's like hiring your floor is important. But I think they got a better job of like finding that philosophy. I know Priesta knows he's a really smart kid when it comes to like how to play COD and stuff. And I think they're working on that, finding their consistency after like the up and down placings. But historically speaking, yeah, New York's play style, if you just watch their minimap and stuff, is like a very good play style. It's very annoying to play against, but it's also something that can completely land you flat on your face and be like, damn, you know what I mean? So I think they're just trying to find like a way to get all their players engaged in the right stuff that they're supposed to be on and like helping each other more and like having something that's just going to set them up for more greatness more than often, because you know you can't always rely on someone like, you know, running in by themselves and getting a 3-piece, because that's you know, that's not always going to work. Like, can that win you an event on a Sunday? Absolutely. But can you go to the next one and do bad? Yes. Like, you want to find that medium to that. So I just think their play style is just super aggressive and super like just fast paced, which is good, but at the same time you have to like kind of find both sides of it. So I just think that's all it is.
You done? You agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just feel like they might be on different pages sometimes. Like when their initial how they usually play doesn't work, they might not have something to really fall back on and like everyone be comfortable with. It's kind of just like, okay, this doesn't work, and then everyone's just probably trying to do too much, which in the end is hurting the team and each other. So just finding a consistent play style for sure, probably their biggest thing.
Yeah, like Dillon can probably attest to it too. It's just like, yeah, bro, like I mean, Dillon, right? Like COD's the easiest thing in the world when everything's going your way. You know, when you're taking those timings and you're ahead of the game. Like a big thing is like, yeah, dude, like when you're ahead of the game, you're ahead of rotation, you're in a corner before they rotate, you're shooting people in the back, you're getting easy kills, right? Like, yeah,
head glitches already.
You're feeling like the man.
You're like, oh man, this is the best.
Yeah, but what happens when you get 4 dead and you spawn up and everyone's now pushed up on you? What do you do, right? Like, or like, what happens when like you're in the 1v1 for the win? You can wait for a teammate, but you can wait for a teammate, but instead you challenge by yourself and you die, and then it's like, well, now what? It's like you have to like those moments where like it's like you know, those moments where it's like that 50-50 where it's like, yo, we have to make the right play here. If we do, we can like close out or take a lot of advantage, and if we don't, we can get like punched in the face and be like, fuck, like now we're really on our back foot. Like, what do we do? Like those moments are important, and like like Dill, like you know, and if everyone's caught sprinting and everything, you're feeling like the fucking man, but it's just tough.
The only
those big plays are like the sorry Ben, I just separate like the good teams from like the great ones. Like when you're in the hard situation, how consistently you can get out of that. Because sometimes like when you're in that trap, you just can't get out of it. Like it is what it is. But the teams that can get out of it, they're just gonna have so many more chances to actually win.
Yep. Agree.
Just to wrap the New York combo, just one kind of food for thought with them. They were a team that played a lot of Fortress Control, and that map is now gone. I know, Chris, against them, you guys played Hotel Control, but they really don't also play a lot or play well on a silo. So I'm also, over the next couple of matches they're going to play, and I'll tell you the teams they're going to play, which is ROKKR, OpTic, the Royal Ravens, and Boston. I'm very curious to see if we see a lot of potential expos in this series. They try to get better at a silo, or if they're just going to kind of get by on Hotel for a sec. That's a really interesting dynamic for them, because they're like the one team that had a crazy Fortress Control record.
Yeah, they were 8-1.
8-1. Yeah, 8-1.
Yeah. So let's move on, because we got a lot of teams to cover. I want to talk about a bunch of teams that played well, but we can bounce around as you know things kind of go. I want to start off with the team I think that, from my end, probably had the best weekend, which was the LA Thieves. They had a pretty, like, looking at their schedule and sort of what they had coming in. They haven't had the best of time at the last LAN. And I think a lot of people were like, Dillon didn't play well. The search, same issues as last year. And I know they, kind of played a weak London team. We'll get to them later, but they looked really, really impressive in Seattle. And Seattle are a team that's also made a lot of strides in search. And I thought Thieves did a really good job grinding out that embassy. I'm curious your guys' thoughts on LA Thieves. You think that they are back, or again, just with New York, you think we just see one weekend from the squad?
What do you think, Dill?
I mean, I think they're just a really good team overall. Like, they might go to the event, have a couple hiccups, and lose, because it's just that's just how Call of Duty is. You make one mistake, you might lose the match because of it, and then it snowballs. But they're just overall a really good team. So they are more often than not going to look like people that could always be there on Sunday, always contending for championships. And I mean, I just think they're great players, good system, good coaches. So they're always going to be on point. Yes, of course, everyone's going to have some struggles here and there, but overall, they're always going to look pretty damn good.
Yeah, I fully agree with Dill. I mean, dude, like, I also just find it crazy if they were taking any criticism after like their year last year. They went 0-5 and got last place, and then they were completely fine. Like, right? I mean, that was obviously unfortunate for them, but like, they played us first round. They got sent to the losers. I think once you get to losers, anything can happen. You know, you can't make any more mistakes, and it's just like sometimes you make that run and it's great, and sometimes you just don't. You know, like. And it comes down to like, you know, a couple game-winning plays that can really send you home early or like, you know, take you all the way to the final and make that run. So I think they're fine. I personally think Thieves has some of the best teamwork out of a lot of these teams. And so to answer your question, are they back? I don't think they ever left. I think they played bad for a weekend and it happens. And again, it's a long season. They're in a good spot. They're completely fine. I don't think there's any reason to panic. I think they're good. I think... I guess, yeah, you can talk about their S&D, but I don't know. I really don't think they ever really left, and I think they look good, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I think they're a product of the league being really deep, especially this season, of there being like 6 or 7 teams that are legitimately event winners, and or have the possibility to win events rather, and they had one sort of down event, and sort of they have a recurring issue that they fixed at the end of last year, and then they had issues for most of this year on, and they seem to have fixed it. So, yeah, I agree with you all. I think Thieves were still always there. They had a good weekend, and I think once again they look like a dangerous team on a good form in order to get something done at a LAN event. So unless you guys have anything else, I want to move on to another 2-0 team if you guys don't mind.
I'm down.
Yep.
Let's talk about Dillon's org that he signed to. I know, obviously, Dillon, this is the first weekend where you were kind of content creating, kind of on the bench with Fame coming in for your spot. Your organization and your team played 2 matches. I know it's not the greatest opponents compared to the rest of the league, but you can only play who's in front of you scheduling-wise, which is the Los Angeles Guerrillas and the Florida Mutineers. And ROKKR was able to get the victory in both of those matches, looking pretty impressive overall. Dillon, your thoughts on the squad? You think that this is a sign of a turnaround for the team?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think Fame is really good. I think he probably played, well, him and Marcus played like the best for sure this weekend. And I was liking the plays I was seeing out of him in like respawns and search and destroy. But yeah, they kind of just played who they're put in front against, or who was put in front of them. And I mean, LAG and Florida, I mean, I think both of those teams are in pretty big shambles right now. And everyone really expected ROKKR to win that, because if they didn't win both of those series, there'd probably be some issues already, especially when you first make that team change. You have a lot more energy, you're in more of a honeymoon phase, and like you're just going harder naturally after a roster change happens. So if they didn't win both of those series, I think it would be pretty bad, to be honest. Because when you look at both, like all of those teams on paper, I think you say ROKKR's probably by far the best team in all of our heads.
Yes.
But yeah, they look good. Fame is making big plays, and with more time, they're gonna probably keep improving. But we have to see when they play like the higher ranked teams in the standings, how they keep up, and if they can take it to the major and actually do good there and make a deep run.
Yeah, I mean, I think the matches that they were supposed to win. I think if they didn't, there would have been a huge fucking problem. Like, you know, I just think that's as simple as that. Like, you have to see more from them right now to see like how things can go consistently, and even like with what Dill said, like, yeah, can you take it to the major and run with it? But I don't know. I think with that roster change, obviously they're gonna be pretty honeymooned out. They're gonna want to like try and like do good, and especially with the struggle of them that's like not playing well. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think they kind of had to win those matches, and we'll see how like things go from there. Yeah, kind of just have to wait and see with them.
Well, they have a pretty difficult schedule coming up. Like to your point, Chris, they won the matches they need to win. They're sitting 2-0. But these are the next 3 teams they need to play in this qualifier stage. They play New York, your team, Chris, Atlanta FaZe, and then LA Thieves. So I think we're going to know in the next 2 weeks where this team stands amongst sort of the better teams in the league. I think with 2, even if they lost all 3, I think they could probably still back in the winner's bracket. But I think I expect them to probably steal at least one of those. And I think it would give ROKKR fans lot of positive momentum as they're in this sort of scrap for 8th place. But as it is with the standings, if they actually put together a really good event, they may actually jump a couple of teams and get a better seeding possibility for champs and not be in a position for Major 5 where they have Vegas on their tail.
Well, this is a big major for them to do good. They don't need to because they can technically still fight it out, but you don't want to go to Major 5 fighting for your life. That just isn't. Yeah.
So I think where we're set at, just to kind of set the picture on the champs qualification, and I guess we'll kind of swing just really quickly. I want to talk about the teams that I think are kind of pretty much at the moment, and obviously they can still pull up and win the event and make this a giant cluster F. But at the moment, the 3 teams that are kind of on the struggle bus and likely not going to make it, Florida, who did go 0-2 this week, although Chris obviously took you guys to a game 5. It was an exciting series. LAG, who lost, but they've got a lot of external bullshit going on, and I don't think that's just the best situation for everybody, and it's really unlucky. And then the team I actually want to spend some time on and talk about, London, who made a roster change, brought in Yuli for Paul X, and had an absolute stinker this weekend. Didn't win a map, didn't look great in any of the maps they played. When they were in winning positions, like on the Expo Control, where they looked like they had a pretty clear strategy, they were just not able to close out rounds. What do you think is good? What do you think, guys, is going on with London, and like big picture with London as well? Like, do you think the piecemeal roster change approach is working? Like, I don't really know what London to sort of do next with this whole situation at the moment.
I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot with the roster changes they made earlier on in the year. Because now at this point, like when you're London, you make a change, you bring in one player. It's really not going to change too much of your team because like I feel like there's still other underlying issues, not even just of a specific player on the team, but just like their overall system as a team. So when you play the teams, because they have a pretty hard weekend this week. They played LAT and OpTic.
Yeah.
When you play teams like that who have clear-cut teamwork, very talented as well, like it's not going to go well for you unless you randomly all show up firing on that day. I just don't think they have a really good game plan and system throughout the season. And then they threw a new player in, which he is probably pretty good. He can get up more kills and whatever, but it's not enough to just make them a whole new team again.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Dill. And also, like, I don't like, yeah, Yuli could be good, but it's not like Paul X was bad. Like, I think Paul X, if you ask me from just speculating, I think Paul X got dropped because of some sort of either clash behind the scenes of players or he has a bad attitude. Where, like, something happened where, like, because they dropped him and then they picked it back up and then they dropped it. You know what I mean? Like, there's some weird shit happened, bro. Like, that's just how it is. You don't do that. Because the kid obviously has talent, but clearly something else went wrong behind the scenes and either they didn't like him or some shit. So it's just like, with that being said, I mean, yeah, they could pick up Yuli. He can be pretty cool. Like, I know this is going to sound like crazy. I don't even think London's like kill issue is the reason why they're off. Yeah, I think, you know, LA Thieves and OpTic are probably more talented. You know, if you're looking at the rosters, like, you're probably going to take them. But, like, I just think even when London gets kills right now, if you just watch them play, bro, like, fuck. It's just not the right. It's just like they just make the game so fucking hard on themselves. So it's like that one roster change isn't going to do a goddamn thing. Like it might, but it's like the player change is not going to fix anything. The system of the Call of Duty that they play needs to change. And like, yeah, you make that player change and the system change, and then maybe you got something. But I mean, for fuck's sake, dude, like it's frustrating to watch, to be honest.
Yeah. I got into a whole argument on stream on Sunday watching that second match. And I thought that Parasite made a good point of just like they're in such a weird spot. I don't think that you're going to be able to sort of like fully blow it up at this point this year. But like I think this idea, and they've been fixating on how they want to build these teams isn't really working. And I think kind of like fully diving into a project, and I think Chris's idea was like find a full challenger squad, coaches, and bring that in and then start from there might be their best opportunity because they're never going to sign top free agents. They're never going to be in the mix for that unless they change their situation. And there just isn't. They basically just been throwing darts at a dartboard at a pub, drinking Guinness, and sometimes you're hitting bullseye like Afro, and sometimes you're missing the board, and yeah. It's just ugly. You like that joke?
You're an idiot, dude. You're an idiot. I mean,
it's a good dad joke. Come
He
on.
was planning that one for a while.
Yeah, that's what I no. The
So we're
reason
talking about
why,
London? I got a joke planned.
yeah,
No,
no,
I-
yeah,
I-
exactly,
Last
Dill.
night. Wait, I got a good joke. Let me put that on
No,
my phone.
I used it. I used that one earlier this weekend. It's not.
I
the first time that it's ever been.
yeah, no, Dill, you just know how Ben is, bro. You know he had that cooked up, bro. Like he had that
He starts
written
giggling to
down,
himself. They're gonna love this.
dude. But no, I don't know, dude. Like, I just think like I don't know exactly what goes like wrong with them in the sense like I don't know who's like who to blame because you just don't know like how practice goes and stuff. But like they just need to fucking fix the COD they play, dude. They're not the best team right now. I think we can all honestly say that. And like it's not that they can't win or lose matches. Like you can still win or lose matches, but it's the consistency and hiring your floor and everything that we're talking about, right? Like you can go out and beat anybody. Even Major 2, they almost beat, or Major 3, they almost beat OpTic. Like you can have those moments.
They broke down map 4.
But
They broke down map 4.
Yeah, oh yeah, they did big time. But like you can have those moments, but those moments don't fucking matter if you can't do them again. Like you don't want that to happen 1 out of 10 times. And like, whatever the fuck they're doing, I don't know who it is. Like just something needs to fucking change. And like for people in my chat saying coaching, like it could be a coaching thing. I have no idea. You don't know what coach, like you very rarely know what coaches do behind the scenes, just to be completely honest. But like at the same time, like it could be the coach preaching the right thing and going over, then the player's not executing it, or it could be the coach like preaching the right things and the player's just thinking he's a fucking idiot, but like those players are realistically fucking stupid. Like there's so much things that can be wrong there. Like so I don't know who it is, but yeah, dude, the game they play, even when they actually put themselves in winning scenarios, it's like they try and fucking lose them sometimes, and like. It just, I think what you want to do now if you're London is like, that's what you need to fix, is get the players that are causing that issue out of there. Again, I don't know if it's players or coaches. I really don't know. But that's what you have to do first off, and then you have to start figuring it out from there. Like, I don't know, you might not be going to champs. I get it. I don't think they're going to make that run to champs anymore, or if it's possible. Gizmo, what's it called? Sorry, I was reading my chat. My bad. But at the same time, like, you still have Major 4 and Major 5. Bro, hypothetically, if you were to win both of them, let's say you just still don't even go to champs, like say you're that far out of it, like that's a lot of money. Bro, you're still playing for your career too. Like you're still playing to show that you can get picked up next year. Like the whole like ideal mindset of like just chalking it because you can't make champs is just so stupid too. Like there's a lot of things you can salvage, but like so like it's obviously super unfortunate to be in that, and it can be very like you're not motivated, but like you have to fucking figure that out.
$20,000 if you're getting third is
that's what I mean, like bro. So like there's still so much to play for, and there's still again it's like the future of your career, not even just this year, but the rest of it. Like
contract because you played well, like you have another opportunity to join a top team potentially for one of the players. Like there's so much that can happen if you just grind out these last 2 events.
Fully agree. So yeah, you got to fix whatever the fuck's happening of like why you're playing stupid fucking COD. Period.
Yeah.
And they're not a team that can be playing stupid COD. Straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the other side, I think the org should think long term. Like there's like, okay, like what the fuck are we gonna do? Like let the players the coaches finish out this season, but we need to figure out what we're gonna do to build a consistent team going into the next year and be contending for like to get to those Sundays consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I think the short term thing, I would say one thing that's obvious, at least even to me when I watch them play, is like they're not reactive in the way that other teams are to situations. They just, word to Tom Bravey, like they just don't hit the go button and go. Like too often, I think the Expo control was a great example. Like they got in a very obvious situation, even for the limited play time. You get an Expo, well, you just know the basis of how control and how spawns work, that the other teams can spawn deep, and you just gotta like watch that deep cross, and you're probably golden. And they just couldn't get in the places to do it because they were just not in right in their decision making tree. And I think if they can work on that short term, they can get an opportunity to maybe become competitive again. But they have a long road ahead of them, I think, and in the offseason, a big rethink on what the overall goal and strategy of the franchise is, because it hasn't been clear to me for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, hitting the go button though on a map like Expo, people still have probably played that map less than 20 times, so I think that's also a comfortability thing. It's kind of hard to say that. I don't know. I don't watch London in depth, to be honest with you, because why would I do that? But like, I mean, sometimes I feel like they like just go too much when they they put themselves in the positions and then their teamwork just goes to shit. Like, and then sometimes they get kills and they just go the wrong fucking way, to be honest with you. So it's just like I just think like, yeah, I think what you said about the long-term shit is just long-term. You have to figure out whatever is causing the problem of them playing really stupid COD, or them. Someone said in the chat that people are saying, like, I forget, someone on there, maybe Trey, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a team anymore. Like, whatever it is, like, you have to fix the root of the problem that's causing all this shit right now, and get rid of whoever it is and do that. That's like what you have to do. Or maybe it's not a specific person or people, or where it's just like, I don't know, like, just revamp other shit. Like, I don't know what it is, to be honest with you, but like, they need to have a more consistent system of playing COD, because with how talented this league is, if you don't do that right, you're screwed. So I don't know. Like, I think the long-term thing is definitely what you want to look at. But even what Dill was saying, like, Major 4 and Major 5 are still good money. And you can still figure that shit out and, like, use this season to, you know, try and get to that problem and fix it and have a good placing. Like, it's still good money and your career on the line. So I think that's still super important for them.
Let's switch gears and talk about a team that also went 2-0, but they're on the complete opposite side of the standings. And that's the Toronto Ultra, coming off their major victory win in Dallas, Arlington. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't remember where that event was. Weird on me. They had an 0-2 stinker week this week, and in particular, their SND really let them down this week. They were a strong search team pretty much all of the last qualifier stage and couldn't win a single search this weekend, losing 2 to Boston and 2 to Seattle. And they lost in Game 5 in both instances. So they were battling in those series, and they still look a dominant control team with splitting hard points, but the search really fell off. Do you guys think this 0-2 was just a classic case of the search wasn't there this weekend, and they played 2 good teams, went to Game 5, and because the search wasn't there, they couldn't get it done?
Yeah, I think obviously when you look at it, you see 0-2, like, oh damn, they had a really bad weekend. But when you actually watch the matches, I think for Seattle, they dominated with the hardpoint fortress. They got slammed in the SNDs, so their search was off, but they still looked good in this series. It wasn't just like they completely got 3-0, 3-0'd, and they're off the stage in 30 minutes. They just kind of had a shit weekend. Maybe it's from the high of winning the last event. They didn't go as hard in SND scrims or really play it that much leading up to this point. I don't know for sure, but they still looked good and competitive in those series. It wasn't just like this is a whole new team that's just getting slammed. They still look pretty good. Yeah,
I agree. Dillon's spot on. I think they're fine. They had an off weekend. They played 2 pretty good teams. They lost. It is what it is. They didn't get 3-0, 3-0'd, so I wouldn't be like panicked or worried at all in any kind of way. It could be a winning high where they just won and then they came back a little bit, you know, took some time off to relax because there was a big break and they didn't get the best practice, and now they're getting back in the swing of things. I think they're fine. I still think they're a good team, and it's not the end of the world for them.
Yeah, and they played 2 very hard teams.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like they played like bottom teams.
Seattle, who are definitely always contenders to win an event. So it's not like they lost to like some lower tier teams. Like they played 2 very.
And you're gonna lose a Game 5 of those guys. Like, you know, if that match happens a bunch of times, like a couple Game 5s might not go your way. It fucking happens. So I think they're good.
I think for I agree with y'all. I think the one thing for Ultra is they do need to fix the search issue. They are playing Chris, your team, at some point this qualifier stage.
We play them next.
Oh, they play Boston. My bad. They play Boston and Surge. My bad.
Yeah. But you and Vegas are probably 2 of the other really good search teams, and so if they keep getting this issue, obviously you guys are working on your respawn. We know Vegas has made a roster change. We'll get to them in a second. Like, this 0-2 could become an 0-3 or 1-4 type situation pretty quickly. So I'm sure that's their focus this week, is fixing whatever issue was limited. And they weren't really getting blown out in searches either. They were losing them like pretty close. The 4 searches. The 4 searches were 6-4 Boston and both of the SNDs, 6-4 Seattle on a CeeLo, and then 6-3 on Fortress. So it's not like they were getting blown out like 6-2, 6-1. They were winning some rounds. They lost a lot of clutches. I know, like, they got kind of bullshitted in a couple of them. Like the one where Insight got gunned off a stage on Fortress was comedy. I don't know how he lost that gunfight, but they do need to clean up their situational play if they want to feel comfortable with the winners bracket possibility this next major.
Yeah. Wait, looking back on that Boston match, now I don't know why I thought LAT for some reason, but yeah, Toronto actually started up 80-0 in the first hard point. Second SND, they went up 4-1 and then just collapsed. So if they don't just collapse on both of those games, 1 and 2, it's a whole nother series. And they probably 3-0 and win that with ease. So they just collapsed that first series, and then they played a tough team in Seattle the next one.
Yeah. So let's move on. Actually, so one of the teams I just talked about, Vegas, also had a pretty solid weekend. I want to talk about them because obviously they have picked up Standy off of Toronto Ultra. So you're seeing some storylines come into play here. And a very impressive win for Vegas. They didn't beat a cupcake team. They beat Boston 3-1. So they didn't even need to go to game 5, which has been sort of the Vegas MO because of how bad they are in control. Looking at how the series sort of played out for Vegas, yeah, they still lost the control. They tried Expo in the series, and Clayster did a post-game interview of like, they actually feel pretty good on Expo, but because of the first time they played it in a real match, once they kind of blew a situation, they sort of felt like they were sort of off kilter on what they wanted to execute gameplay-wise on that map. But they look good in the respawns, and they really kind of put it to Boston in that final Embassy hardpoint. So what do you guys think about the standing change? Do you think they're really going to kick it from here and really give ROKKR and everybody else a run for their money for the rest of the champ spots?
Yeah, I definitely think they will. I think Standy was the best player they could have picked up because he's actually really good at this game. I just don't think his play style on Toronto is what Toronto needed. The way him and CleanX play, they're just not I don't see them as a good sub duo with their chemistry. But Eli's supposed to be like that slaying SMG, making plays, being annoying, and just being kind of like the star player on the team. And that's where he shines. So I think that's going to help Vegas a lot because their respawn was pretty bad and their ARs were usually the ones doing pretty good. Whereas like ARs just aren't as impactful when you have a really good SMG player running on the map, opening it up, making plays. So I think Eli's going to help them a lot. And the good thing about him is he's really good at SND as well. So TJ's been amazing at SND so far. Now they have another really good SND player. So I think overall in SND to hardpoint, they just got better. And I think naturally they're going to just get better at control because you can't get much worse. And I think they're just that team that they just have the fire under their ass. They know they can make champs and make a deep run, and they're going to give it their all. So I'm excited. They're going to be an exciting team to watch moving forward.
Yeah, I think the same thing Dill said too. Like, I mean, I think the biggest.
Agreeing with me,
I think the biggest highlight though that you didn't say was to not agree with you. I think TJ played like incredible.
No, in the respawn.
Like, yeah, I think like we're talking about Standy. I think we're talking about Standy, which is true. I think Standy might have gave them the confidence. I just think in general they needed some more firepower, and I think they thought that too. You know, if I could take a guess, they probably needed some more slaying power, Dill, like what you said with Standy. Yeah. And I think that though alone probably gave them a little bit more confidence in the team of like, all right, we can compete now. You know, like at a higher level. And I don't know if it was just a one-off thing or Teach is more confident, but Teach definitely has it in him to play very well. Like, you know, when he's like playing good. And his playstyle is a very good one when he is playing well too. But I think he played incredible this weekend. And if that change gets this TJ more consistent, like if we see this version of TJ more, I think this Boston team's in for a really good run. I think a lot of this team relies on TJ, to be honest. I think when TJ is playing really good, he's like one of the players. He's been around a long time, man. But when he plays COD to win. In my opinion, like when he is playing good, he sets his team up for wins. He's a playmaker in the sense like just the way he plays. He takes a lot of hard gunfights. He's in a lot of tough positions. But if he's like, you know, winning them and like, you know, coming out of those like just engagements alive, it's like usually a really good thing for you guys. And I think he's really clutch. He's good at search. So if we see this version of Tej and he plays like that, I think this team is going to be really, really good. I think, you know, you can always kind of bank on Donnie doing well. Right, like just the way he plays. But what you said is really true. Like, you could be a good AR, man, but like in theory, the ARs like want their subs like pushing out and controlling the map for them, so they can pick up the rest of the stuff, right? So, a lot of it relies on how good your sub players can be to a degree. Yeah. And I do think like if Tej plays as consistent as he just did, I think that's the biggest thing to look at. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Chris. I actually wanted to bring that up, which is like, you know, Eli coming in, yeah, I see the upgrade path there. To your point, Dillon, historically a good search player. Actually didn't play that great for search this season on Toronto, but he actually played really good in the one search map they played in the series. So maybe sign things to come. But to your point, Chris, I agree. If this move brings out the best out of TJ, a player who we have seen in his prime be very, very good, but in recent years, it is the roller coaster of just inconsistency from series to series. Some series he pulls up and he's the best sub player in the lobby. In some series, he really struggles. If this gets his slaying consistent, you knew that Clay's turn around his game. You know what Don gives you. They become a very dangerous team that no one wants to play, especially because of how much prep work and execution they put into search So I'm hoping they kick it on from there because it would make for an exciting finish of the season. I would love for, and I think this Vegas team has become a lot of people's second favorite team. Would love for them to make it deep in a tournament like on a Sunday. I think that'd be really exciting. A lot of people will be rooting for them.
No, it's definitely possible. I think they're in a good
They're
spot.
the meme team, so like, or the meme org. But
Yeah.
now they actually have a true competitive roster. Like now that
Probably
this
for
is
the
a
first
real
time,
team
right?
now. Yeah, for the first time
Yeah.
they're actually like, you're playing Vegas and you're like, oh shit, like these guys are actually good. Like we need to go hard. It's not just, oh, we're playing Vegas, let's get it. We're
Yeah.
playing Paris, let's get it. Free 10 points. This is by far their best team, and they are a real solid team across the board. I don't think there's a weak spot on that team involving a player.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
What I'd like to see, and I think it might be beating a dead horse to an extent because I don't know if it's going to happen. Make champs, not make champs. I don't care the placing. Like this project needs more capital in order for them to really top end their potential. This team, and whether that means the Vegas org spending money next season and getting them an actual facility to play from, doing some home series so they can get some matches in front of their fans, or getting someone else to own this organization and actually invest in, is really, really key because I think there's a lot of potential here. I think they've done a lot of work to get the team to where it's at, which right now they're just like a top 8, top 6 team, and they've had some good land placings this year. They haven't just been an online squad, especially because they have a very tough online split as is. But I want to see them kick it next year, and it's going to require the org to invest in them and like believe in these players who they brought in, players like Clayster, who have turned this organization, to your point, Dylan, from a joke, let's be straight up, they were a joke for 3 years to like a real force and something everybody roots for.
Yeah, no, I really don't think they need to invest even that much more money, even if they don't need to get an actual facility. At least get all the players in the same area, maybe a little apartment stipend, whatever it's $1,000, $1,200 for each player. Move into the same area, whether it's Texas or Vegas. Just be able to be around each other, have the same internet connection instead of being in one person in Toronto, one person in Pennsylvania, the other person in Dallas, someone in Atlanta. Like online splits like that are so old gen COD. The game
Yeah, nowadays you can't be doing that shit. Yeah,
you can't do that anymore. Just like get them in the same area. At least if you can get facility, great, but get them in the same area. And I think that's just their next step as an org to take care of these players and build a consistent team overall.
You have a very marketable team too right now. You have fucking Clay.
Don.
You have Clay, who's
the
Clay,
best rapper in the Call of Duty.
Yeah, Donnie's one of the best personalities in like the CDL. You have a very marketable team right now where you can do a lot of good content and just a lot of shit that honestly a lot of other teams can't. So like they have opportunity like sitting in front of them. So
for sure,
yeah. But
I want to.
What?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say that's probably it about Vegas, right? I don't really have too much.
We're talking about consistency. I want to talk about a team. There's a team that went 1-1 this week, and I think a lot of people aches his meme that they're the roller coaster team. The Seattle roller coaster surge had a very good major 3. Obviously, Chris, you all beat them. Game 5, round 11, Hipfire, Dead Silence,
Daddy
cheese,
Hipfire cheese.
And then they lost to an OpTic team in front of their home crowd. So going in this qualifier, history would say, oh, well, Seattle had a good event. That means they're going to have a bad event. And Seattle actually looked really competitive this week. They went 1-1, but they had to play Thieves in Seattle. They lost 3-1 to Thieves, just winning the control. But all of the maps, well, the SND was close. I don't think either of the hard points were very close. And then they played Toronto, and they beat Toronto in a game 5. And the SNDs were very clean from Seattle. And I think the first Hydra hard point was really exciting. Then they got kind of blown out in that fortress you mentioned earlier. Dylan, so you guys curious? I'm curious your guys' thoughts on Seattle. Do you subscribe to this roller coaster theory? Do you think like they're now with this improved search sort of here to stay, and maybe that's kind of fixed some of the issues they've had almost for like 18 months with this team sort of being good, then being bad, then being good?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really have a good event last event. They got 6. They played FaZe really well.
They got unlucky though.
They probably should have got the round. I'm gonna say I don't think they should have beat FaZe. I'm gonna say they should have got to the round 11. It's a 2v1 for Seattle if they get the Hipfire cheese. If the Hipfire cheese kill doesn't
that's not,
who knows? It's still clutchable. It's still clutchable. But I think overall, they're in an interesting dynamic too, because a couple of their players are doing Ramadan right now. So I believe they're all like fasting and not drinking water during the matches. But Yeah, they're looking really good, and the fact that they're winning series now because of their SND, I think their hard point is just gonna be back. It's not, well, it hasn't left. It's still gonna be really good because they're naturally that's just their best game mode, and it always will be. So I think they just probably had a bad weekend in that, and they'll bring it back. But the fact that their SND is on point, they're able to rely on that to get them through a match like a team versus Toronto is a good sign for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, no, it's all good. Chris is dealing
My
with chat
bad.
stuff. I mean,
Fuck off.
first off, the Ramadan stuff is interesting, Dylan. Obviously, I think Lamar's talked about him and AG Pred both, have to because of the religion that they're part of, kind of fast from sunrise to sunset, and that makes it very difficult. It makes it hard to stay hydrated and be at your best mental state. And it's a challenge because we know how difficult Call of Duty.
That's got to be so fucking hard, bro. That's got to be so hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. There are a number of other players in the league that do it. There are a number of other really top challengers players that have to deal with it. I always tip any folks out there that are observing Ramadan and have to do this over the course of the month period. It's massive respect to them. And I think my point though was just like, I think if on paper, I don't think their team was ever some like world star amazing search team. But at times last year, especially when they won that event in Toronto, like it all clicked. But then when it didn't click, they were way off. And it was the same issue this year. And I'm curious. And I've tried to find out, but I think obviously they're going to be coy into the offseason, like what changes they made to really get a lot better in search. Even though sometimes they're not winning some of these search maps, losing 6-3 or 6-4. It's not the 6-1, 6-2s we saw in the beginning of the year where they were just getting blown out in Embassy. Like they're competitive. I think they're running into issues where teams are counter adjusting, and then they're getting into the counter adjust meta. But Chris, I'm curious your thoughts if you think that like the improved search maybe is why they seem to be a little bit more consistent now.
They seem to be more consistent for sure. I mean, I think search too is also like, man, would you agree with this, Dill? I feel like you can be a good search team in the sense you can prep and you can have your strats and all this shit, but like good search teams are just who's good in the 2-on-2s, the 2-on-3s, the 3-on-2s. Like, yeah, like those mid rounds, man. Like, and sometimes it just takes the course of a year to just get like a lot of teams don't practice S&D. And yes, you scrim S&D and like, man, it's good practice. So you have to scrim S&D. We scrim it all the time. Yeah. But like, it's not the same as being in a 3v3 at a tournament or a match. It's just not the same. And like,
people aren't going as hard in
and
practice, to be honest.
Yeah. And it's not even like in the sense of like, oh, they're not trying. They should be trying harder. It's just like, if you're in a 3v3 and you're on LAN on the main stage, you're not taking. A lot of people aren't taking that crazy risk. In a scrim, people are shouldering the alley. You know what I'm saying? They're hitting the alley. They're taking it. So it's like you can get those practice in, but it's not the same. And sometimes it just takes a course of a year to like just get into those reps and get better at them over and over and over. Right? So it's like I think that'll help their consistency. But I don't think they like. Yeah, you said they had a good event. I don't think they had that good of an event for Seattle standards. And like you can say they got unlucky versus us. Yeah, that hipfire kill was pretty fucking wild. We probably got a little lucky there. We definitely misplayed that to even get to that, like, that situation. But like, they also lost 2 other maps to us. And again, when we play Seattle, though, it's always back and forth. But they also then lost to OpTic. Yeah, that's right. They always lost. They also lost to OpTic. Like, and you could say that's in front of their home crowd, but they still lost. Like, you can still beat the team. Like, I don't know. I don't think they played as good as they wanted to. And when they played OpTic, I know they lost a really rough match to us. And mentally, that's got to be pretty fucking draining. But they didn't look that good against OpTic either. And I think their standards, they would probably agree, they hold themselves to higher standards than that. So, like, I think it's just more or less, like, finding their consistency right now with search, but also keeping their respawn up at the same time. I do think sometimes when you invest so much time into fixing one thing, you kind of lose track of the other. And if you're a Seattle fan and I have a lot of respect for the Seattle guys, like, you don't want to see that for them, right? So, like, you want to make sure they kind of keep everything going as they're like still kind of pushing that S&D forward. So I think they're definitely looking a little bit more consistent. I've always had a lot of faith in these guys. They just have to kind of just continuously like get their system in line. But yeah, with the whole like, fasting and everything else that they're going, like, that's got to be also something that like I couldn't even imagine. So definitely tough right now in that situation.
I think the other problem for Seattle, and you saw it in play with the Toronto series, they're a team that has pretty hard auto vetoes like that they've stuck to all season. And it's not giving them the flexibility situationally to like sometimes dictate certain elements of the map pool, you just know you're not going to play Mercado against them.
Well, it used to be Hydro though. They did change that.
Yeah,
it used to be Hydro. They're trying to change that.
Change it
Yeah.
after the first part of the major, but now they've been on the double Mercado ban.
No, yeah.
For a good majority of the time now, and it's screwing them in some series where they're playing teams that just like are Mercado teams, and then you're leaving like a team's best map in that you're maybe good at, but you're giving them like a decent map set. I think that is an area of opportunity for Seattle, amongst obviously the search conversation here, to really make inroads, and that's going to make them like more well-rounded going into the final major and champs.
No, for sure. I mean, having those auto vetoes suck. It's just like weird. Like the Mercado auto veto for them makes no sense to me because I feel like they're a good hardpoint team, and Mercado hardpoint's not my favorite, but it's not awful either. Like I feel like that's a map that they shouldn't be horrible at, but I don't know.
I had a Mercado search too, I guess.
Yeah, see, but Mercado S&D though, Mercado S&D, Fortress Control, and a little bit of Fortress S&D. There's methods to everything, right? You can always control like, the methods of the madness and all that stuff, but like a lot of people just aren't comfortable with playing Mercado S&D because how stupid it is with the spawns and stuff. Like that is super fixable. We're not going to go down that path. But I wonder if it's an auto veto because they're bad at the map, or it's just because like they don't like playing maps. Like there's a lot of people that just don't like playing maps that they think are bullshit. And to a point, that is right. But sometimes like you have to find a way on some of those maps too, right? I can even probably speak for my own team with that right now. But like it's just like those you gotta kind of pick and choose when you want to throw those in there and be ready and all that stuff. So I don't know. And someone said they fixed the spawn issue. Mercado S&D, both teams get the bad spawn. No, yeah, I'm talking about like historically. I'm saying like historically with like other S&Ds and everything else, the spawn should be like consistent in different ways. But that's why I said I don't want to go down that path. I'm just talking about like throughout the year they haven't probably played Mercado Surge because people didn't like that. So it's like I think sometimes you also have to like kind of get over that fact, or they can just be bad at the map. Like they could also just be scrimming the map and just fucking suck at it, and like they're trying to get better at it and they're just bad at it, right? So I don't know.
Even then, if you are streaming the map and you are bad at it, you have to at least attempt to.
Sometimes you do.
You really never know. Like you might be bad at it in scrims, but shit might click in a match. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Like, and if you don't at least try it a couple times, like you got to. And I know they've tried it. I've seen them play it, but I'm just talking more of like a general. Basis. Like you should actually not take scrims as like the end all be all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's crazy because they have the personnel to be good at Mercado Search. They have a sub player that's gonna win every chow he takes, and they have a very good sniper in the team on Dante. Lamar is a very good island player, so like I feel good about their ability to execute on offense.
But
go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say like with them too, Dillon. Like, do you agree? Like sometimes, like scrims are an end all be all because there's been maps that we look incredible at scrims and you lose at the matches, and like vice versa. But like sometimes all it takes though is like 1 or 2 solid wins on a map in a match to just get that confidence where you're just like, all right, we're good at this map, and then like you just like completely find a flow in it where like it really helps you. So like to Dillon's point of attempting it, I do agree, like depending on the teams, but I don't know exactly who Seattle's played in Mercado or their record. I could probably bring it up, but I know they've tried Mercado versus us, who is just historically a really good S&D team.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
So, it's like if that's who you're going to try it against, that's probably not the best. It just like depends, but yeah, no, I do agree with you. Like I think sometimes all it takes is for to try it in and, have it click, and if it clicks and you can really get that map in your map pool, like you can't really know how good you are at something until you get it done in the match, and like a couple times, not just once or twice. So what are they in Mercado right now? They're 0-3, so they've only tried it 3 times, and once was versus us. So yeah, I wonder.
Count versus you guys. I'm not trying to like S&D versus you guys. I'm not playing that. You're gonna be like, oh no, we suck at that. No, you guys are really good at S&D.
That's what I mean. It's just like it's just kind of tough depending on who they're judging it versus, but. Yeah, you have to open that up though, because there are going to be matches that you end up playing that what Ben said, you're completely right. You're gonna play teams like best couple maps, and honestly, that's even something we've been working on for this. So that's even something for us to take a note out of that. So 100%. Intel. No, because we obviously our hard points and stuff have been struggled, but like we haven't we've vetoed Hydro so much, but like to a point, there's going to be teams that, for example, they veto Hydro or something and we veto Hydro, and then we get to have to play their best map because we're, you know what I mean? Like there's always stuff like that. Like you can never, I've said this forever, and especially in a best of 7 or best of 9, like you always have to try and be complete. So it's still super important. So your like theory is 100% correct.
Well, let's move on. One more team I want to talk about. We're not going to talk about every team in this video. Chat, people watching at home. It's just impossible. 12 teams to be here for forever. I want to talk about the teams I think we can have interesting combos on, and that's OpTic. They only had one match this weekend. We talked about their opponent earlier. It was against London, and they absolutely fried them. OpTic continuing their scintillating, super hot hardpoint farm. Do you guys think they're going to keep it up? Do you think this team's going to continue to be a force all season as we head towards the closed land environment of Major 4, Toronto for Major 5, so on, so on?
Personally, yeah, I think they're going to be a solid team the rest of the season. When this team first formed, they were collapsing a lot. In SNDs, they would be up 4-1, 5-2 and stuff, and they would just choke, lose it, and throw it all away. It seems like if they lost to that London on that map 4 and got 12th, they would have probably made changes and everything would be different. But after that, they just had the momentum and confidence. I think they're a very big momentum team. Like when everything's on point for them, like they're frying. Of course, they have the crowd on their side. And I don't know exactly how good they are. It's hard to judge because they played London and absolutely slammed them. But I think right now, like if we're going to a tournament, I'm seeing OpTic play on a Sunday for sure right now. It's just how much can they improve their overall game modes to like beat those top teams consistently. It's going to be interesting to see them play at Major 4 when there is no crowd versus other teams, because I think the crowd buff is a real thing. But I just think they're a very talented team. Like Shotzi is one of the best subs in the game. Dashy, one of the best ARs. Dan and Hugh can pop off at any moment, and they kind of enabled the other two to be the stars they are. So I'm excited to see that team. They're a really fun team to watch, and I'm excited to see if they can like compete to be in that top 3 and go for win that championship that they've been looking for.
Yeah, I think if you think OpTic right now, you see them top 4 on a Sunday, right? No matter what. Like I would be surprised if not, even if they go to losers, you know, like it kind of depends on how they get there. Like if they get there through winners, that would be huge for them. And I think they have like a really good opportunity, right? And then even if they fall to losers, I still think you see them top 4. I think they're a really good team. I think their hard point is, yeah, what you said. Their momentum right now is good. They're confident. I think they're looking so much like just like more in tune like with each other as a team. But I think a big thing for OpTic as well, their fortress control was kind of like, it just wasn't really like they couldn't get it to click in matches. That's not a map anymore. And they've seemed to like, you know, want to play Expo and stuff and try it out. So that could be a huge thing for them as well to open up their map pool for Expo control and like, you know, have some other controls that they can play. So this can only really help them. If that map ends up being a good one for them, it's still kind of too early to tell. Like, yeah, you can be good at it now, but like, you know, we'll see how that kind of plays out. But it's getting rid of a map that they weren't that good at, right? So I do think we will see another good OpTic run. I would be surprised if we don't. They have all the talent and like they're kind of just running on good momentum. I think that losers bracket run was really good for them. Even though they lost in the final, I think getting those matches and like understanding that they, you know, it showed them that they can win a bunch of matches in a row when it matters, right? Yeah. Like it showed them that they're capable of it and they can get it done when it matters. So I think now it's just like they're just another dangerous team, right? I still think they're going to be good. So if they just keep getting better and better, I think there's no chance we don't see that run. Like just like another good one.
Was that their first stage together, right? They formed that roster in stage 2 or stage 3, my bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first stage together.
Yeah, and there's always growing pains. So I mean, I think they're still going to be really good.
Yep.
Agreed. Cool. Well, that's it on teams. We have Dream Crazy in the chat. One more thing before we get to like questions. I want to tip Dream Crazy and Spaceman filling in this weekend.
Chance legend right there.
Chance went to Minnesota to go hang out with Dillon all weekend. And so it's tricky for him and I guess for him and Miles to cast. So they brought in Dream and Space this weekend. I thought they did a really good job. So I want to tip them for their work this weekend casting. Y'all were killing it. So appreciate that. Before we take questions, so chat, if you want to start dropping those in the chat, I'll start making note of them. Let's take a look at the schedule for this upcoming week. We have some absolute banger matches coming up.
I'll pull it up on stream too. Yeah.
We're also starting Bounty Week, Bounty matches. So those are coming back. I know I personally have mixed thoughts about the Bounty matches. I don't really like them. I feel like the money could be used elsewhere, but it is what it is. It does add a little bit of extra spice to some matches. I guess to Chris first. In particular, is there any match or matches you're looking forward to on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Atlanta FaZe versus Toronto Ultra. That's the one I'm looking forward to. I got my eyes on that one. Other than that,
That's a good one.
yeah, that's a good one. I think that, I'm excited for that one. That should be a good one, especially it's a bounty one. New York versus OpTic, huge. I think this will be a good one too, because I still think New York's been putting a lot of work in their respawn. And I think they've gotten slightly better at it. And we'll see the consistency that we're kind of questioning, right? That's exactly what we just talked about. OpTic's a great team. They have high momentum. They're a good respawn team. These two teams playing each other, you'll see a lot from that. So I think that's big. Vegas versus London. I'm just excited to watch Vegas.
The Vegas matches are big this weekend because they have two quote unquote easier matches. So if they win both of those, they would guarantee them themselves a spot in winners too if they won both. So huge for both of them. For
sure. And then outside of that, the only other one I would say would be just like the New York versus ROKKR. Again, we just want to see like how the fuck ROKKR handles. And the same thing with New York though. It's still all about their consistency and like how they can pull stuff more out, like pull more stuff off. So I think it's pretty good matches, but those would be the ones I would be focused on the most.
I think for me, if you scroll down, Chris, the last match of the weekend, LA Thieves versus OpTic.
Oh, I didn't see this one. Oh, duh. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see this one.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's a little hidden there. The problem with the schedule page is like the bounty match banner is so big. I don't know. Visually, the schedule looks a little funky.
Well, sometimes I just don't realize that like, this is the cutoff of the weekend. I thought the cutoff was like up here. That's why. So
that's where they have that last weekend into the next weekend. Like, it should be connected.
Yeah.
It is a little, the way that the page fills out is a little
Need
funky.
some better coding on that.
Yeah, and it's a little confusing. But LA Thieves OpTic, I'm looking forward to. Might be a bunch of undefeated teams playing each other. I think for Thieves, like they beat OpTic, I think they're gonna jump high in a lot of people's power rankings. So excited. I think we're getting to a point in the season again with the 7 like really good teams in the league, and maybe 8 now for tossing Vegas in the mix there. Like there's a lot of bangers on every given weekend. I think predicting some of these matches is also really hard just because of
absolutely.
Again, so and we're also getting to a point where like it's desperation time for teams like LAG and London. So I'm curious to see how things mix out. So I think that's it on Schedule Talk. I think we'll take a couple of questions in the chat. Well, I see one from King of War 1029, and it's a question to me, but I'll ask it to you too as well, just hypothetically. What is my dream roster move for right now? No bar.
Dream?
What?
Are you talking about like build a team of 4?
In general, like if I could just pick one team to make like one change right now, is that what you're asking, King of War? Because I can eat. I
like no contracts, nothing. Like you can just make one team better, no matter who it is. Is that what the question is? Or no?
I'm just waiting for him to respond.
Yeah.
Because I have some ideas.
Say it. Just go. We'll run with that.
I'm dropping Slasher for Chris Crowder coming out of retirement and being the main AR for Atlanta FaZe.
Sib to FaZe, someone in my chat said. Sib to FaZe, interesting intel.
That just pissed me off, bro.
Chris, I wanted to get a reaction out of you.
What is the reaction? What reaction do you want from me there, bro? The last thing I'd ever want to do is compete again, dude. Like what, bro? Like, and also, and if we're asking honestly, you know how much worse we would get? Like, no, dude, you're an idiot.
Bro,
dude.
don't undergas yourself. You were good when you played, man.
Listen, we're not going. I've already had this conversation with you and a bunch of people. My career was dog shit, bro. We're not doing this.
Bro, but your career won a ring, dude.
I'm not listen. I'm not talking about it. That is the last thing I'm saying about it.
Right now.
Yeah, leave me the fuck alone. And my career is forgotten about. And leave it the fuck alone, dude. Jesus.
I just fucking killed
Len.
Yeah, we'll move on. Bro. Tomatoes in the chat, bro. Tomatoes in the chat.
I saw a good question we talk about.
What?
Do you think we will ever get back to normal COD with red dots, dead silence, no EQ, etc.?
Yes. Well, no EQ cheese, bro. EQ cheese is not a COD thing. That is
Windows
it's a
11,
PC thing. Yeah, like
these PCs we have.
That's just like I think the settings will always be better, but like when it comes to like normal COD, yeah, like I mean the next Treyarch game will be good because Treyarch doesn't make shit CODs for competitive ever. Like they give us the bare minimum of what we need. But Yeah, I think we'll go back to it for normal. The only thing that's annoying about COD, and I'm sure Dillon, you agree because you still play, it's just like every year you just have like a different Call of Duty that's different. Like last couple of years we had slide canceling, and then one year we have 150 health and a really good spawn system, and everything makes sense. And then the next year you have squad spawns and shitty maps. And then this year you get killed with hip fire and a bullet while you're popping dead silence because the health is 50 fucking health. Like it's just, I feel like the amount of things that do change year to year are different. But to answer the question, yeah, I'm sure we'll eventually get another COD that's pretty good, and then the next year we'll probably get squad spawns again.
No idea.
Yeah, exactly. So
they'll
like,
be gone again.
yeah, it's just fucking hard, bro. Like
we're just at the end of like competitive CODs at the end of the line. The most important thing is making money, having the casuals be happy, buying skins and everything, and just spending the money in the game. So you just kind of have to deal with that.
Yeah. Oh, so you keep going. Sorry, my bad. No, keep
no,
going.
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, but what you were saying, like to add on to your point, multiplayer and CDL right now is carrying the living shit out of Call of Duty and all of viewership on like Twitch and shit right now. Yeah. Like, so the bigger the CDL gets, the more consistency we may have in the future towards competitive. And again, like you don't need to make a game that's built for competitive. You just need very basic stuff. Red dots, dead silence, and a spawn system. That's all you really ask for. So like, the bigger the CDL gets, the more content the CDL produces, the more money it brings in, the faster we'll get to a very slow process of like having more consistent games made for competitive. Because right now, Dylan, what you said, yeah, you just never know what the fuck you're about to get. It's just tough.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question for you, Chris. We should answer this one in the chat. If you want to get political, so be it. From Ricky the Great, what do you all think of people saying it's more of a disadvantage for OpTic to scrim FaZe since head-to-head has been favoring OpTic without scrimming FaZe?
What's political about that? So you're saying like because they beat us all the time?
I'm saying I'm not. Well,
that's what he's asking.
I mean, in theory,
you want to give a real answer, but go ahead.
I mean, my real answer to that is like the way I view it from like my point of view with my team. I don't really care who we scrim or anything. The way I view Call of Duty, I'm actually curious to think what you think, Dylan. I haven't really talked to too many pros about this because I just don't talk to as many people as much as I used to. I think COD is much more of a game of like the game that you play matters more than the opponent that you face. I know that sounds crazy considering OpTic's like record versus us in the last like year and a half or whatever, but like, dude, a lot of times like when you lose in COD, like you make really shitty plays and the other team capitalizes on that and shit. And so it's like you can learn from other teams and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, like you can also just watch the teams play matches and see like, oh, like they're doing this well on a map and you can take it from them if you need to. You know what I mean? So it's not like you're really in respawn. You're not really hiding anything from not scrimming teams. So it's like I get in theory you would say like, yeah, like they don't have to scrim us because they beat us. And if that's the case, like so be it. But I really do think like your own worst enemy in Call of Duty is yourself. And with that being said, like, I mean, bro, when we played matches this weekend, we were fucking dumb and we lost the maps that we were fucking dumb on. It's really as simple as that. Like I'm sure OpTic would say the same thing about themselves a lot of the times. Like when they lost those fortress controls and everyone was freaking the fuck out, OpTic was fucking dumb in those maps, right? Like it's a lot of the times it's not like the other team as much as it's like you doing stupid plays that like fuck up your system. From my point of view, like what do you think about that, Dill? Do you think that's like crazy to say or no?
No, I don't think it's crazy to say, but I will add, I think it's not, I don't think it's so black and white. I think it's more in the gray area because certain rosters, who knows, certain rosters match up and certain players match up really well.
Oh, definitely. So
in this
it's also a mental thing too.
Yeah, your team might, being able to practice that might get more used to what these guys do.
Yeah, I get that.
Like what they do in like the heated moments, their tendencies and stuff like that. So I can see it helping a little bit, but it really depends. There's some rosters who don't need to scrim a certain team and they're still going to go play their game and be just fine, while there might be others who might learn a thing or two and like, oh, this is like what they like to do when they're put in this situation. We've scrimmed them, we notice this is the setup that this AR player likes to go to, or this sub constantly hits this route. So I do think it can help for sure. And we've seen it in the past a couple of times when there's been like, mostly it's been with like the top teams like Complexity or the OpTic Dynasty, where they won't scrim certain teams because of some drama or they know they're going to play each other consistently. And I don't think it get hurt for you guys to scrim them.
It doesn't hurt us. Yeah.
You guys might, hey, you never know. You might go and still get slammed by them in every match you play. Or you might go and slam them now because you scrim them. Like, we don't know for sure. I think it's either going to if people are gonna say it helped when you guys beat them, or it doesn't matter when
Well,
you guys lose. Whatever happens in the match is what people are gonna say.
If you, for example, if we were to go out, so now, you know, we've been scrimming them more, and that's the whole talk of the fucking town. If we were to go out the next match and beat them, everyone would be like, this is why OpTic can't scrim FaZe. Yeah. But like, my point, yeah, so you're 100% right. And yeah, it could really only help us technically if we're using this question as like that. But my point is just like, yeah, a lot of the times like we lose. Well, last year, I'd also just think we were a lot worse than what people thought. But like even this year, it's just like a lot of times we lose just like, yeah, like, we are in a full setup and we're supposed to be holding something, or like, you know, we're doing something and there's a lane wide open that's not communicated, or someone said they're holding it and they're not, and then Shotzi hits it and shoots you in the side and your setup goes down. It's like, yes, that is 100% OpTic being good. Like you do that against a good team and you play against a player like Shotzi, you're going to get countered for it. But like at the same time, that's also us just being fucking dumb too. You know what I mean? Exactly, so it's just, there's so much more to that than that. But there are tendencies that certain teams have that, like, for example, you kind of pick up on them in scrims. So I get that, but I just think the big picture is just like,
you don't want to play around another team like, oh, we're playing this.
You should never.
This is how we're gonna play now, but then we got to switch it for this. Like you want to.
Well, that's not how it is. Because dude, if you do that and like, going deeper into it, it's like, bro, this team always breaks left side of this hill, right? And then in the match, they just happen to spawn on the right side of the hill and they break from there. And then it's like, well, we had 3 people looking left because their tendency is that like. You have to be smarter than that, bro. Like, if you're not smarter than that, you just suck. And so, to that degree, like, I don't know. I think it's so much more of like executing the proper stuff, like when it matters the most. And
someone asked, just to kind of put a pin in this, someone like added me and said, do you think scrims ever evolved to a level where teams conduct practices without involving other teams, like other high level sports? There are some esports, like I think League of Legends, I think some teams don't sometimes scrim each other, but I think they do other times. I don't know. The economics in esports don't really support like having like a scout team, practice team. I don't think that would be beneficial. So it's just sort of a different environment. It's not like in the NFL where you have like a massive roster and you can run all your scrimmages and practices and play against each other and then scout people. It's like there's just not a need. So
yeah,
there's just not enough talent to like actually build the 8-man roster of because the other talented players they're
are on another roster. Yeah. Exactly. They're on another roster. There's just like so much.
I think one more question, and this is an interesting one. I want Dillon, maybe you to speak to this one. Loic asks, can you talk about how the game completely changes the dynamic of a team or player? Example, Cold War, Cammy, and FaZe.
Wait, FaZe. Where is this question? This is my chat? I see it. I found it.
I think he's basically saying like, whether it's systems changing from year to year or the game's changing and then you've got to adapt your system. Like, is that a real thing? Like players like Cammy obviously looked really good in Cold War and dominant, but struggled last year, even though they were a good team. Like, is that a product of just the game environment? Call of Duty's got a unique situation where you're playing a different title every year.
Bill, you can go first, and I'll say what I have to.
I mean, I definitely think there's certain players who are better at other games, and they might not even be bad at a certain game, but they just are worse at a certain game. And that could also be because of the game. That could be because the team dynamic changed, even though there might be the same roster. Someone might be fed up with another person, and there's team drama, and people are just growing up, and they're not putting as much time into Call of Duty. There's so much that could change, and there's so many factors that go on, especially with the new game changing. So yeah, I think it could be, I don't think there's one right answer. I think it could be a lot of stuff. Like you might ask someone and like, yeah, I didn't watch VOD or practice that hard this season as I should have. It's your environment too. So it's hard to say. I don't know why a team is certain better. A team like FaZe, maybe they probably didn't do this. Maybe they didn't put as much time in last year. That's why they were getting second in every event instead of winning. But this year they won an event. Who knows? Because they were more focused and wanted to put more time. That's probably not true.
No, it is.
We don't know for sure.
Our work ethic last year compared to this year is totally different. I think we work way harder this year.
See, I was spot on.
But like it was
so many things that can change.
But it wasn't even like a work ethic thing where it's like we just didn't care. It was just like we were just like there was just so much wrong last year that just like we could never like fully get to the get all the stuff out of the way to then fully be like focus on like what really helps you win and shit. You know what I mean? We just had a lot of nothing could ever go right for us last year. We tried so hard in so many different ways. So it's like we didn't have a terrible work ethic, but like there's just so much bullshit last year and whatever. But like to your point too, like, bro, you also just named, I don't know if I'm faded for this take, man, but you just named Cold War, right? And then let's use Cold War in this game, for example. One game was 150 health. So immediately more gun skill, right? More talent. Talent with more health, talent prevails because you have to shoot them longer. You have to control recoil for longer. You have to hit people more. It's just a more skillful game. And immediately with more health, it's more skillful. So Cold War, a game that takes probably like talent can help you out, sometimes even bail you out more, is going to help you. Cold War, I think 99 out of 100 players would tell you the spawn system made more sense, right?
Yeah.
So like
it had good maps.
Yeah, so it's like,
and it had red dots.
And then that usually leads to players like in the game. So it's like there's an environment thing. What Dillon, you said, like sometimes you just put more effort in because you like the game more, and naturally that's going to make you play it more. Naturally, you're going to get better at it. So that's 100% a thing. But I also do think just in general, like, yeah, like certain games are also like, bro, Black Ops 4, for example, 150 health stims. That game was all gunny and all team shotting.
Yeah.
It was both. Like that game was so much gunny and so much. It's just now we're playing a game where like, I mean, dude, you die in 2 bullets to the head, and you know this. Like I would say, this game is so much more team oriented, where like team challenging and really having your team together is important because like, for fuck's sake, I can hold the doorway and probably kill 2 people on a pro team right now. You know what I mean? If they run through separately, like it's just like it's just different. If I was holding a doorway in Cold War, I ain't winning 2 1-on-1s back to back. It's just different. Like, or so it's just I think game to game, it's a very deep question of just like the person, because like some people like the game more and it's in their environment, their team more. Some people hate their team for certain years and then they obviously play worse because they don't like do well in those. Sometimes the game also is just better. Like it takes more talent where talent prevails. You can even see that in jetpacks back in the day. Like, right, they're like, you can be a dumb fuck in jetpacks, but you could still be good.
You can be dumb as rocks. It don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, bro, yeah, so that's my thing. So it's just like, yeah, dude, like there's just so many different factors to Call of Duty every year that change that. So like it's very hard to really answer that. It's like such an individual to individual.
So
like, yeah.
So like you would have to spend years to really figure it out.
And it's also just like, yeah, to certain people, like, bro, like, yeah, no, like, I don't know. It's just, everyone's different. Some people don't like the next game. They don't play it. Some people love it and they play the shit out of it. Some people, it's just different. So
I think Slick's in the chat made a good point. One of the last Fortress Control offensive ones we saw was LAG playing with Marquee B on the map. So
yeah,
I mean, that kind of, you know,
he probably hasn't scrimmed too much this year.
No.
Yeah, so
yeah, no, seriously, if that were to be fucking cold, if that was Black Ops 4, to be fair, it was versus the worst control team in the league currently, but like still, like that ain't happening if that's a Cold War, a Black Ops 4. You're getting fucking bodied. Like it's just what it is. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it is what it is. I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. Chris, you want me to do the outro? Kind of run it.
Go for it, Ben. Hit it.
Go for it. Well, Dillon, as always, appreciate you hopping on. I know for now, you're on the starting lineup, so you're always welcome to join us on this show.
What the
Chris,
fuck, Ben? Jesus. Nothing.
Yeah, you're
dude.
getting benched, Chris. I'm taking your spot.
Please, dude. You can have my spot.
I'm just trying to be whatever, man. Whatever. You're
Chris,
you're blowing
can you
up
do
my
the outro? I don't like Ben's
here.
already.
All right, I'm gonna take the outro. That was just fucked. Anyway, Dillon, you're always welcome on the show because you're a great friend of ours and you're a great dude and you have a great mind for COD, dude. So and you know, and on that note, dude, yeah, Ben, it was all right talking to you today, Ben. That was kind of fucked, but Dillon, great talking to you. Chat. Other than that one guy in the chat that was kind of going nuts, good job keeping the vibes up today. And yeah, I love all of you guys. I think this was a good episode. This will be on Spotify and everything else. It'll be posted in the YouTube description and it'll be up on YouTube later today. And on top of that, yeah, all the audio forums tweeted out by me, Ben, maybe Dillon, if you know, wants to promote us at all. And then, and then we're good. So yeah, dude.